And oftentimes you'll find some people are really good at interviewing, but if their job is not sitting in a room answering questions about their past experience, and their job actually requires, doing things or creating things, in the interview process, you definitely want them to have some exercises that mimic what their real job is. And so we wasted a lot of time and money not hiring the best people and not filtering them for, fit, regardless of if we are like 90% sure that this is a candidate we want. We always still make sure we put them through a pretty rigorous interview process. I'm Nanxi Liu, and I'm the co-CEO and co-founder of Blaze.tech.
This is Code Story, a podcast bringing you interviews with tech visionaries who share in the critical moments of what it takes to change an industry and build and lead a team that has your back. I'm your host, Noah Laphart. Today, how Nanxi Liu created a solution to solve problems of the past by building a smarter, no-code platform. All this and more on Code Story. Nanxi Liu is from Colorado and went to school at UC Berkeley. In college, she immediately started her entrepreneurial journey by starting a biotech company and then eventually starting tech companies. She built and sold a company called Enplug, which was the #1 open digital signage software company. Outside of tech, she has kept a full life as well, producing TV shows, one of them winning an Emmy, snowboarding, and playing piano and cello. At her prior company, Nanxi experienced her non-technical team members consistently needing some sort of tool to solve a problem, and as such, waiting around for engineering resources to be freed up to build it. When their company got acquired, she and her co-founders knew exactly what they wanted to build next. This is the creation story of Blaze.
So Blaze.tech is a no-code platform where we enable people to build custom software and applications without writing any code. So this can be anything from building internal tools, like if you wanted to create a very custom CRM, admin panel, your custom inventory management software, you can build it all inside of Blaze without, again, needing any technical knowledge. We have a visual interface that allows you to drag and drop and be able to get really creative, basically unleash your entrepreneurial abilities without needing to, use an engineer or hire an engineer. I would say Blaze.tech really started as something that we needed at our last company, so the digital signage software company. So even with that company, we had a lot of employees all over the world. We had a big engineering team. And then, of course, the other half of our team, they're product folks, operations folks, sales and marketing folks. And there was always some kind of tool, an application, automation workflow or something that our non-technical teammates needed to build. And they would always wait around for an engineer to be able to help them with this productivity tool. And so it was always this, this obstacle, this hurdle. We have our engineers that are building our core product, and it's just so hard to take their time away to then build an internal tool. And so we had this problem in the back of our mind for a while. And then when our company got acquired, my same co-founders and I pretty much knew exactly what we wanted to build next, which is build a platform that solves for one of the biggest problems we had at our last company, which is empowering our non-technical teammates to be able to build apps and software that help their work.
Let's dive into the MVP. So that first product you built, how long did it take you to build? And what sort of tools did you use to bring it to life?
I think of the MVP as a combination of different things. And we rolled out, it was so funny. We called things like Alpha 1, Alpha 2, Alpha 3. We didn't even want to call it a beta product or MVP because that implies, I think, a lot more features than we necessarily had. And I think what we learned from our last company is just roll things out as quickly as possible and just get customer feedback. So we started the company January 2022, and we started getting alpha customers in March. And so these alpha customers were just people that were in my friend network. I posted on LinkedIn, I was like, hey guys, started a new company. We enable you to build internal tools and databases without any code. Sign up. It's free right now for any alpha customers. And so at that time, what we had built was basically ability to create a database and be able to visualize, basically have CRUD features like create, be able to edit, update, delete entries in your database and be able to connect into databases ranging from Postgres database to MySQL, enabling people to, again, just be able to interact with their database. So that was really one of the first versions. And yeah, we got it out end of month 3. And some of those alpha customers that we have are now our full-on paying customers who've stuck with us since then.
With any MVP, you've got to make certain decisions and trade-offs around, feature cut, debt acceptance, and you're talking about some of those at a high level, but tell me about them in a little more detail, those decisions you had to make and how you coped with those decisions.
A lot of it was, we want to make, when you log in somewhere, this onboarding tool with all these different templates of apps. We didn't have any of that in our alpha product. Our alpha product, it was strictly, hey, you want to go and interact with your database without writing SQL queries. We want to enable you to just literally connect to your database in a no-code way and then be able to create tables, be able to create pages that allow you to filter and search for data and all of that. When you logged in, there was really nothing of like this beautiful landing page when you logged into the Blaze.tech dashboard. You jumped right into our editor with all the different drag and drop components. And we really didn't have that many drag and drop components or widgets that you can use. It was really just a set number. And then, of course, with a lot of no-code tools, there's these tutorials that oftentimes you'll see. We didn't have that. Our tutorial was me or one of my co-founders jumping on a call with the alpha customer and explaining to them, hey, here's what this button does and here's what that does. Basically pointing them to our website for some examples of other tools that people have built.
This episode is sponsored by Vanta. You're a startup founder. Finding product market fit is probably your number one priority. But to land bigger customers, you also need security compliance. And obtaining your SOC 2 or ISO 27001 certification can open those big doors. But they take time and energy pulling you away from building and shipping. And that's where Vanta comes in. Vanta is the all-in-one compliance solution helping startups like yours get audit ready and build a strong security foundation quickly and painlessly. How, you ask? Vanta automates the manual security tasks that slow you down, helping you streamline your audit. And the platform connects you with trusted VCSOs to build your program, auditors to get you through audits quickly, and a marketplace for essentials like pen testing. Join over 8,000 companies, including many Y Combinator and Techstars startups who trust Vanta. Simplify compliance and get $1,000 off at vanta.com/codestory. That's vanta.com/codestory. This episode is sponsored by Kinsta. Between juggling client meetings, managing your website, and keeping up with everyday tasks, who has the time to stress out about website security? Well, with Kinsta, the technical stuff is taken care of, so you can focus on what you do best. Kinsta provides managed hosting for WordPress, offering lightning-fast load times, top-tier security, and unmatched human-only customer support. Whether you're a business owner, web developer, or running a digital agency, Kinsta makes managing your website easy and efficient. Kinsta provides enterprise-grade security, being one of the few hosting providers for WordPress with SOC 2 and other certifications, guaranteeing the highest level of security for your website. Thanks to their unlimited free expert-led migrations, Kinsta ensures a smooth transition for you from other hosting providers. Customers have reported 200% faster load times post-migration to their platform. What I find cool about Kinsta is their fast and reliable customer service and premium features that are included at no extra cost. Ready to experience Kinsta's hosting for yourself? Get your first month free when you sign up at kinsta.com today. That's KINSTA.com. So then from that point, how did you progress the product and mature it? And to kind of wrap that in a box, what I'm looking for is, how did you build your roadmap? How did you decide, okay, this is the next most important thing to build with Blaze.tech?
I think roadmaps, sometimes it's one of the hardest things to determine. What we learned from our last company, and especially when we're working with businesses, so we're very much a B2B SaaS platform, is we take a lot of feedback from our customers, and the customers who are willing to pay, even if it's a small dollar amount. And that's what we started doing. After the first set of free customers, then the next set we started charging, actually some dollar amount, although it was super little. It was like $10 per user. And we would share, okay, here's what we are releasing. Do you have feedback? And we literally have the customer conversation. Or sometimes they'll email us and say, oh, hey, I was looking to do this. How do I do this inside of the Blaze.tech platform? For example, I want to connect into my Stripe platform. Do you guys have a Stripe integration? And it's like, well, we didn't have it at the time, but this is great customer feedback. This is a person that has already invested time in building a tool in our platform, and they want to expand it. They want to add payment functionality. They want Stripe. So we immediately go and implement that. Some of the requests that our paying customers wanted, it turns out that lots of other paying customers want it too. And so we very much will change and update and adapt our product roadmap based on the customer feedback that we have. So there are things that we didn't think we were going to get to until, the subsequent year of our company. But we moved so much quicker on so many things because we had immediately, one example is that we weren't originally planning in our first year in our roadmap was being able to do some data visualization, doing graphs and charts based on somebody's database. And we were able to release that immediately because we had a number of customers who said, hey, I would like to just do basic data visualization on my database. And so we launched that. And again, originally that was not in our year one timeline.
So let's switch to team. So how did you go about building your team? And what did you look for in those people to indicate that they were the winning horses to join you?
The reason why I think we were able to just very quickly sign on board, Fortune 500 companies, startups, and every kind of company in between was really the speed at which our team was able to move and build product that was very different than what's out there. So for the team, actually the first 9 people in our company, they were all from our last company. They were our top engineers from the last company. And I always say, you don't know if you're really a good boss or not until, you start a new company and see if the people, your best people from the last company will join you, because everyone will tell you you're a great boss when they're working for you. But it's the start a new company, ask them, hey, you want to come along for this new ride, and see if they come along. And we were super grateful that all of our top engineers joined us at Blaze. And this, as a startup, made a huge impact in our speed to getting that alpha product. To get an enterprise SaaS with a lot of security functionality within 3 months is, I would say, pretty rare. It was actually one of the things when we did our review at the end of the year with our team, the engineers were like, we just didn't think that we could get that initial product out with actual users within 3 months and do it so quickly. And it's really because we didn't have to train the team. We didn't have to spend recruiting dollars, hiring a recruiter to go find teammates. Didn't have to spend time, testing, are they capable? We use Angular. We didn't have to train engineers to use that. It was, we had used that at our last company. And so being able to, from day one, immediately, people are just sprinting to release features and product was super helpful. So that's how we got the initial group of people. Something I also learned from the last company is we will pay extra for great talent. And I made tons of mistakes at my last company. We have limited budget. And I was, straight out of college, and I would just hire like my friends. And so we probably just didn't hire the best people. We hired people who were really new at whatever their responsibilities were. This time around, we just want to hire the best, and we're willing to pay more for the best talent. And so with that, some of the platforms we use for recruiting is we use AngelList, which has been a really great resource for us. We like LinkedIn. We like asking for people in our network. And then we give incentives for people in our team to recommend their friends.
Let's talk about scalability. Super important. So did you build this to scale efficiently from day one, or have you been fighting this as you grow and gain traction?
We also learned from our last company, you really want to, at least for us, because we're building a B2B enterprise SaaS company. And again, we have like some of our early users, they were the big companies that used our product from the last startup. And when they saw that they could easily build a lot of internal tools in Blaze.tech, they immediately signed on board. And we're working with millions of rows of data for some of the databases they're working with. So really from day one, we had to be very scalable. We saw other no-code tools where it's like, you got to pay for extra rows of data and things like that. And we just said, no, we want our platform to be encouraging people to store as much data as they want and be able to create as many tools as they want. And so because of that philosophy that we had as a company, we just had to make our platform very scalable from day one. And not just on the scalability side, which it's hard to do sometimes, but because we had the experience at the last company, that was helpful. And plus my co-founders, they were the original developers on creating Microsoft SQL Azure. They just know how to build massive, highly scalable systems. So that was helpful. The other thing that we did from day one that was super important is our internal controls and security. So setting ourselves up to get what's called a SOC 2 Type 2 certification. It's one of the top certifications you can get as a software company. And the reason we started setting it up to be able to get the certification just from day one is once you have a company that's really established, to then go back and change so many of your systems to then become SOC 2 Type 2 compliant is really difficult. We had to do that at the last company, and it took like 2 years to do that. And there are some big software platforms out there that, actually aren't SOC 2 Type 2 compliant. But we were able to get that certification because from day one, we just set up the internal controls and our security, data privacy to be able to pass the SOC 2 Type 2 audits and tests.
Well, as you step out on the balcony and you look across all that you've built, what are you most proud of?
I am most proud of being able to build a product that is being used by so many people. And I think being able to enable people that, again, didn't think they could build applications or custom software, and now seeing that they can. I think I get very excited in seeing the different types of companies that we impact. We work with startups where they don't have any engineers. They're building their entire product and their internal tools all inside of Blaze. And then it's really cool to also see these Fortune 500 companies and teams inside of these massive global companies that are building things from HR apps to automated invoicing tools. And so that's one thing that I'm just really proud of, just people using the product and finding a lot of value for it.
Okay, let's flip the script a little bit. Tell me about a mistake you made and how you and your team responded to it.
There's so many mistakes. Let me just preface it with that. At our last company, I would say one of the mistakes that I learned is you just want to make sure you hire great people. A mistake that we had is we didn't have a very strong interview process at our first company. It was like, oh, hey, that person was referred to us and they're just great. Let's just go and hire them. And it's like they speak to one person in the company and then we're like, all right, you're hired. And we didn't make them go through any exercises. And oftentimes you'll find some people are really good at interviewing, but if their job is not sitting in a room answering questions about their past experience and their job actually requires, doing things or creating things, in the interview process, you definitely want them to have some exercises that mimic what their real job is. And so we wasted a lot of time and money not hiring the best people and not filtering them for, fit. And so for Blaze, regardless of if we are like 90% sure that this is a candidate we want, they were recommended to us, they had great credentials, etc., we always still make sure we put them through a pretty rigorous interview process. They speak to multiple people on the team. They do a skills test that encompasses basically things that they would do on their job. So for example, if it's a person that we're interviewing for sales, we would ask them to write responses to possible sales emails or customer objections that they might receive. If we're hiring for engineers, our CTO and other engineers will give them technical questions and have them solve case study problems. What that does is it shows the dedication and it sets the tone for your new teammate that you really are diligent with everything you do. And so when they come into the company, they know that we're process oriented, and they already can get a sense of the culture, is that we really care about making sure that people are the best at what they do. The reason we have these things in place is, again, learning the hard way, making the mistake of not having a good interview and recruiting process.
Well, this will be fun to ask. What does the future look like for Blaze.tech, the product, and for your team?
For the product, it is expanding more and more functionality that you can only right now do with code. We want to go and enable people to do without writing code. So it is things like very complicated workflow where when one action results in 3 automated updates across your systems. Maybe that includes sending out a email notification. It means updating some other third-party database that's connected to the system. It means updating a dashboard that you've built in Blaze that's calculating, the amount of revenue generated by a certain product category of yours. And so a lot of these things we found is, again, requires code on all these other platforms. And for us, it's anything that right now you have to do with code. We're going to show you in Blaze that you don't need to do it with code. That's really all of our product roadmap and what it looks at. And of course, long-term, what my vision for Blaze is making anyone that's not technical have the capabilities of doing any kind of technical custom software development, just unlocking people's capabilities that they never thought they had or could do.
Let's switch to you. Who influences the way that you work? Name a person or many persons or something that you look up to and why.
I'm pretty picky with the people I spend time with. And I think that's because I recognize how influenced I am with the people around me. One of my favorite quotes is, "You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with." And when I've shared that with some people, they're like, "Oh man, I got to get some new people to spend time with." But I really do believe that quote. And so the people that I'm most influenced by, of course, my friends and my co-founders. So my co-founders, Bruno and Tina, they are machines. I've just never met somebody so hardworking. My friends all think I'm like really hardworking. I'm a workaholic. It doesn't compare, I think, to Bruno and Tina. They truly are just machines. And so they're super competent. They're really high integrity, awesome, fun people. And so they influence me because I spend a lot of time with them, interacting with them every single day, talking about our team, our product. What they influence me on is get things done, like go hustle, A/B test things, go and break things, and just do. Don't sit on something and, dwell, like, is this feature going to be good or not? Sometimes you just don't know. You got to just go do it, or not necessarily fully implement it, but talk to a customer, ask them, "Hey, I've got this functionality. Is it close to what you were looking for?" And basically just hustle. The other folks that obviously influence me are my friends. So all of my friends are other really successful co-founders. That truly is the people I spend a ton of time with outside of work, and they're all really inspiring. And so, of course, there's lots of, founders out there, lots of CEOs, and I think the ones that I really filter for are people who are just good people. They care not just about work, but they care about doing good in the community. We relate in that respect. We like to have fun. With a group of my CEO friends, we have this like exotic car group where we will go race cars together. Like, we like to have fun. Having that reminder of life is not just about work and building, but it is about enjoying and being able to give back. And so, one of the things I loved is in my bachelorette group, we went to Cabo. Every single person was a super badass founder or CEO or executive. We flew on one of my friend's private jets there. Another friend who is one of Forbes' wealthiest self-made women, she then surprised me with this like private fireworks show. And so I would say that's another influence where they show me how to be a great friend and have fun and enjoy life. So on the work front, definitely my co-founders. On the fun, outside of work stuff, got just great friends that influence me.
Okay, we talked about a mistake earlier, but a little bit different spin. If you could go back to the beginning, what would you do different? Or where would you consider taking a different approach?
One of the things that I would maybe do differently from day one is how we thought about pricing, because pricing impacts the kinds of customers that you're getting. Early on, I think we made our pricing such that people were like, it's so cheap. This product, is it going to have the quality? Although we still make it very affordable, and I would say we're incredibly affordable compared to any of the low-code solution to build the same kind of application you can build in Blaze. When we actually increased our pricing, it got us more leads and more customers because people are like, oh, okay, I got it. This is a serious product. I can build a highly scalable tool or application inside of Blaze. Whereas when we were charging, really small dollar amounts, it kind of just made people feel like, I'm not thinking this is a tool that I would necessarily have to invest a ton in because it's so cheap. I can cancel anytime. So that's something that we changed. Another thing I would probably have done earlier is for a lot of the companies at the beginning, we just threw them inside of the Blaze platform and just said, okay, just go and build. And now what we do is we have a whole implementation team that helps our customers set up their application, because we realize one of the biggest hurdles for people when they're using any kind of tool, whether it's no code or a low code tool, it is just setting up exactly what you need. Instead of having to spend days or weeks trying to figure it out, our team with you on a call for an hour just immediately sets up the exact tool that you need, and you can now be productive. It actually solves your problem instead of creating a new problem for you, which is trying to figure out how to use a new platform. Those are two things that I would have done differently. Last question. So you're getting on a plane and sitting next to a young entrepreneur who's built the next big thing. This is a regular plane, not a private jet. What advice would you give that person, having gone down this road a bit? They've got the product there, they're jazzed about it, they can't wait to show it off to you right there on the plane. What advice do you give them? I would say go immediately, just launch whatever app MVP it is, and start asking for feedback on your target audience. Don't ask people that aren't going to be users of your product if they think it's good or not. That's not going to help you, and that's going to be a waste of time for you and for them. Ask the people that will find, or who you think will find your product valuable, and then also ask them, how much would you pay for this? And so I say, go, move fast, get feedback from the right people. That's fantastic advice. Well, Nanxi, thank you for being on the show today. Thank you for telling the creation story of Blaze.tech. Thank you so much for having me, Noah. And this concludes another chapter of Code Story. Code Story is hosted and produced by Noah Labhart. Be sure to subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or the podcasting app of your choice. And when you get a chance, leave us a review. Both things help us out tremendously. And thanks again for listening.
Business taxes. We're stressing about all the time and all the money you spent on your taxes.
This is my bill?
Now Business Taxes is a TurboTax small business expert who does your taxes for you and offers year-round advice at no additional cost, so you can keep more money in your business. Now this is taxes. Intuit TurboTax. Get an expert now on TurboTax.com/business. Only available with TurboTax Live full service.